What's that? Well, in the context of an IRS problem case, there is something known as the collection statute of limitations. You'll hear me sometimes call it the CSED for CSED, which is an acronym that stands for the collection statute expiration date. Or sometimes you'll hear the IRS talk about it as the COSED, which is a collection statute of expiration date, same thing. The thing that's interesting to know, or that you need to know, is that there is a 10-year statute of limitations for the collection of tax, of income tax and payroll tax, as a matter of fact. And that begins to run 10 years from the date of the assessment of the tax. Now, I could actually talk about this for an hour or two in a real technical setting, but I'm not going to do that because we don't have a lot of time on this video. But what you need to think about is the assessment date is when the tax became formally due and owing to the IRS. That's normally April 15th, which is the due date of the return for most people, but it's not always. If you file your return early, it becomes April 15th, the due date of the return, but if you file your return late, it becomes the later of those two dates. So if you file your return, you get an extension, and you get an October extension, so you don't have to file on April 15th. But you go ahead and you file on September 9th, then all things remaining constant, let's just assume that they accept your return and they assess the tax on September 9th. That'll be the assessment date that the 10 years will start to run from. Now, there can be multiple assessment dates, and let me give you an example. If you file a return and it shows that you owe $100, and then later on the IRS finds a math error, or they decide to audit you, and 2 years later they decide to assess additional tax, then you would have a second assessment date, and the 10-year statute of limitations would begin to run from that date as well for 10 years. Now, there are a number of things called tolling factors that can apply, which will actually stop the collection statutes from running. I'm going to give you some examples just off the top of my head. This is by no means meant to be an exhaustive list, but an offer in compromise is one thing that can toll your statute or extend it. A bankruptcy is another. The filing of an innocent spouse application or a collection due process hearing. There's a laundry list of different things or different actions that could have been taken by you typically, which could extend your statute dates. I just wanted you to know that by no means is the 10 years an absolute end to your problems. I've seen statutes open for over 30 years depending upon the various actions that taxpayers have taken on their own. Now, typically, what we will do as a representative in representing you and any taxpayer, we will go ahead and file a Freedom of Information Act request and get your transcript information from the IRS so that I can personally determine when your collection statutes expire and when your hell with the IRS will be over once and for all. This is by no means the only solution to an IRS problem, but it's one of about 5 or 6 that can be a great solution to your IRS problem, and sometimes we can actually, quote, win just by letting time go by. It's one of the many factors that we go ahead and analyze when we get your transcripts from the IRS after filing a Freedom of Information Act request. That's pretty much all I wanted you to know about the collection statute expiration date, is that your tax problem is not a lifetime sentence. There is an end in sight. It might be a while. It might be very short. I've had cases where the statutes were already expired by the time they came to hire us, and I've had cases that were 10 years, of course. So I just wanted you to know that the collection statute expiration date exists and that it might just be the solution to your problems. If you need to reach us at the law offices of Darren T. Mish, you can reach us at 888-GET-MISH, 888-438-6474. Our local number is 813-229-7100, and you can always reach us at our website at getirshelp.com. You can reach us by email at contact us at getirshelp.com. I want to help you with your unique IRS problem. We're here to help, so give us a call. I look forward to talking to you and helping you solve your problems with the IRS. Take care.